Hi, I'm Kenneth Lund. I'd like to talk to you about machine quilting and how you can build and use your own machine quilting quilt frame. With some of the components that I've developed, you can build and use your frame very economically and do incredible artisan quality quilting work. Let me first show you the frame, talk a little bit about the features, the components that I can provide for you to build your own frame. Basically, you have a track and a carriage that moves the machine back and forth while the quilt remains stationary, held on the rolls. But now, let me show you this track, the carriage, and then we'll talk about the track. The carriage is something that I can provide. The thing is that the top carriage moves very smoothly on the bottom carriage, and that the bottom carriage moves along nicely on the tracks. Now, something that makes my frames quite different is that I use a variety of different types of wheels for the frames. On this carriage, you can see I've actually used a type of a skate type of wheel. Now, this is much different from the frames, most of the frames you'll see out there. This is what I use myself. I absolutely love these wheels, and this is the reason why. They're a large diameter. They're kind of a hardened rubber plastic type of wheel, but here's the deal. They have two bearings in them, one on each side. These are so smooth that I just love them, and being the larger diameter, it makes the carriage really heavy duty, so it carries whatever machine that I desire to put on it. Now, so the top carriage with the handle, it sets down on the lower carriage like this. That's it. It rolls right along on the tracks. Now, the tracks are something that you will build yourself. And the reason is that the tracks really work best if they're in long lengths. So in other words, it would be really impractical for me to try and ship you a 8 or 10 foot single piece track. The track you build yourself, and you start with just a real simple strip of molding. This is a MDF type of pre-prime molding I buy at a home center store. Some kind of a strip of wood that'll go, and I'm sorry this isn't the exact size I'd use, but a strip of wood that goes on the side of the track. It's screwed there. That's all you need. I'll show you more on the track later on the frame setup itself, but really that's all you need. Here's the secret. The wheels just have to roll smoothly on the track. If the tracks are too close together, then it will pinch or bind the lower carriage. You don't want that because then it'll be jerky. And you don't want it too terribly loose. But here's the thing. If it is a little bit loose, the tracks being a little wider, in the parallel, not to worry. Because why? Look, the top carriage moves that direction. So, in other words, if there was a little bit of play in the lower carriage on the tracks, just, like I'm showing you here, not a problem. It's taken up in the top carriage. Look how smoothly this carriages go. But now let's talk for just a minute about how does the carriages operate? How fast do they have to spin along this track? You know what? They don't have to go fast at all. They don't have to bind up, and they don't have to be too loose, but they don't have to go fast. Why is that? Because when you're quilting, the speed that you're moving this carriage is the speed of the needle of that machine going through the top layer, the batting, and the backing of the quilt. Up and down, and doing your patterns, doing your stippling, whatever you do. That's the top speed that you'll be going. And a lot of times people get hung up with worrying that this carriage is just going to go flying back and forth on the track. Not a worry. As you can see, don't take my word for it. Look and see what I'm showing you. This carriage moves so smoothly. Important, you've got the end frames. You've got the end frames that hold the rolls. That's important. And then with the rolls, you have What holds the rolls in place? And how tight does a quilt need to be? We're going to discuss that. How tight do you stretch a quilt when you're machine quilting? I've got some good takes on that. Okay, now I want to show you a couple things. First though, in setting it up. Here I have the machine on the carriage. Now, you don't want the machine too far back on the carriage or it'll tip backwards, or too far forward. So figure out about where your machine feels right on the platform and where it still moves nice and freely. Now, usually what we like to do is take the cords of the machine and run them through to the front underneath. Case the cords go through and my foot pedal is in the front. I can move it along as I do my work and travel. Now, now I want to show you this set up in motion. In this case, the operator has her hands on the handles and she's guiding the carriages. Now, it doesn't look like a whole lot of movement, and that's because the quilting process is not this huge fast thing generally. Okay, now I've got the focusing now down again with the operator with their hands on the handles and with the carriages being moved. I want to just hold it here for a minute so you can see the track movement and the carriage movements on the track and how this is working. It really is quite smooth and it really is quite simple. Now in this case, the operator's decided she wanted to move down a ways, do a little bit more work on this pattern area that she's working on with the colored thread. So I'm just gonna apologize for a little bit of bumpiness. We're doing the handheld thing here, moving up and down to show you the details, but I want to just be quiet now for a minute and let you watch it in process. Now here you can see it's going a bit faster, but now look, as I go down on the carriage, we'll stop now for just a minute and look at some other sequences. Okay, now we're just going to shoot some more details of this frame and carriage and everything working together. I really want you to see how this works and how easy it is.